Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am PANCZASU, the mighty MIG spammer, and I bet you didn't see this one coming. Actually, you probably did, since I mentioned I'm going to do this kind of videocast. This is Heroes 4, the Might and Magic series. Let's exit the main menu just so that you see that I'm not lying to you. I didn't start this video in main menu because, frankly, main menu music of this particular expansion pack is probably the worst music in the entire game. I just don't like it, so yeah, that's the reason why I decided to start in a different window. But anyway, this video is an introductory video for all of you people that either do not know what Heroes 4 really is, or those of you that hate this game without having ever played it, or maybe having played it only for like 5 to 10 minutes and saying, well, it's different than Heroes 3, so I do not like it, blah blah blah, it's horrible. Guys, I'm a long-time Heroes fan. I started off with Heroes 2, so I am a long-time Heroes fan. And I do appreciate Heroes 3 a lot. It is a very good game, it really is. But Heroes 4 is also a really good game, and it deserves a chance. It deserves a chance. That's all I'm asking of you. So the purpose of this video is quite simple, to explain to you why I believe that Heroes 4 is a good game in and on itself, and that you should, you know, check it out for yourself, or at least watch my future videos, because currently I am, as you can see, playing against gameslayer. Actually, I'm not going to load up this file because gameslayer might be watching this video and he would learn all my secrets, and this would be bad, so I'm not gonna do so. But we are going to have some multiplayer goodness sooner rather than later. So before... oh wow, there's a thunderstorm outside, by the way. So before we move on, how about I explain what are the changes from Heroes 3 to Heroes 4 and why people hated Heroes 4. And now, I am assuming that you already know what Heroes games are, because I uploaded a lot of Heroes 5 and 6 footage on my channel, so I'm not gonna go over the basics, assuming that you already understand them. So how about I load a different game, which is my campaign, and explain it over here, because it's a little bit less hectic. As you can see, the map is much smaller than the previous one. I only have one city, one hero. I do have another hero in my city, but you know what I mean. And it's much less hectic, that's why it's a better example explaining what this game is all about. So essentially, Heroes 4 is very similar to Heroes 3, 2, and to a certain degree 1, with a couple of exceptions. So first of all, the town screen is going to tell you the most of them. Now, first of all, one thing that I have to admit, I myself don't really fancy all that much in those town screens. Actually, I'm gonna boost the music just a little bit so that you can hear it maybe. Is the fact that they all look kind of similar, right? I mean, I'm sorry that I'm loading different games over and over again, but it's for the purpose of demonstration, it doesn't really matter now, does it? So as you can see, there's Chaos City, it looks like that, yeah? There's a tier 4 creature dwelling here, there's a tier 3 here, tier 2 here, there's a mage tower and whatnot here. Let's have a quick look at the Nature City, which was a different faction. Yep, I've seen this somewhere before. All structures are basically in the same place, and although they do vary in function and artwork, which is very nice, I do love the artwork of Heroes 4, by the way. But in terms of town screens, they could have done a little bit more to make them more unique for each faction. The nice thing that I can say in this game's defense, though, is that the game screen does change a little bit depending on the territory on which a city is located. So let's say that this city would look different if it was, for example, on a lava area. It would be all red, hazy, and it would look awesome. So that's one thing I can say in defense of the town screens. But it also shows you a different thing which people really didn't like. And that's the fact that those are the heroes, creatures you can recruit. If you can remember, in Heroes 3 you could have recruited 7 creatures. That's also the case with Heroes 2. And in Heroes 3 and partially in Heroes 2 you could also upgrade them. So you, technically speaking, got 14 creatures from a single base. In Heroes 2 you got less because only some creatures were upgradable. In here you cannot upgrade your units, you only get 5 of them. However, it's not just like they are not here, because in the past I made some decisions. When I click on my town hall, you can see all the structures that I can or cannot construct. And there are 3 creature dwellings that I could have constructed but didn't. Now, what does that mean? It means that even though you only have 4 tier of creatures, I mean there are 2 tier 1 creatures and tier 2s, 3 and 4 creatures, you have to pick, except for tier 1, which creature do you really want. So for example, in tier 2 I can choose from Sanctuary Garden, which gives me Medusas, which are an amazing unit, or alternatively I could have been able to buy a Labyrinth to generate Minotaurs. This makes even, you know, individual Chaos cities unique and allows you to develop them in different way to gain access to different units, which is really quite an interesting concept, which I do like a lot, even though it does give you access to less units, which is, I admit, somewhat of an issue that you can harvest to go over with, because there's a lot of other things that this game has to offer, right? So first of all, do you see my garrison? In other Heroes games, that's about it. I couldn't do anything with it without recruiting a hero. In here, la-di-da, I just created an army. I can move it around. It can go ahead and gather resources if there were any, but there aren't. I can send it to this watchtower to see more territory, which doesn't give me anything because I already discovered it. But that's a really good, cool feature that I like. Armies without a hero can still exist, move around the map, do various tasks, wage war, do all that normal armies could do in other games, except they cannot capture cities, they cannot capture structures, they cannot obviously gain experience because there are no heroes in those armies, and yeah, you get the idea, I believe. I honestly really like this feature, because it allows you for some extra strategic depth yet again. You do not basically have to have your heroes everywhere. It also allows you for something really cool. Let's say that this hero is venturing away for an adventure and he's about to kill somebody. Yeah, so he's moving away from his town. In other Heroes games, that would be it. I wouldn't be able to gain any reinforcements without hiring a new hero to bring those reinforcements to me. But here I can just hire my units and move them to my army, and sooner or later I will have my reinforcements without the need of buying an unnecessary hero, which is very nice, I have to say. Now, another cool thing that has changed, and I believe that now it is about time I go back to the save file I wanted to start with, which is this one, is the fact that the heroes you have are actually part of your army. They are not just sitting behind your units, they are taking an active part in a battle, which I'll show to you later when I engage this blue player. So I'll talk about this later, but I can already tell that this changes the combat drastically, but not for worse. I would say it changes it for better than it was in Heroes 3, or even Heroes 5, which is my favorite Heroes game. Because right now you have those heroes, they can buff your army by a ton, because, you know, they are heroes, they still have awesome abilities and such. They can carry out powerful artifacts that can really change the outcome of the battle. They can still cast spells and whatnot, but now they can also attack in melee, fire those arrows or bows or whatever they have that they fire, which was also a thing in Heroes 5, but here you can actually kill those heroes. And by killing an enemy's army hero, you make it so much quicker. The enemy's units do not gain any bonuses if they were gaining any. And it's a really interesting concept. Also, an army without a hero cannot do much. I mean, it cannot capture anything, so it's a really bad spot for you to be in. And if it is attacked, then your hero doesn't gain any experience because he is dead. Now, dead heroes aren't dead forever. Instead, when they die, you get a tombstone. Now, depending from how they die, some different things can happen. If they die fighting a neutral stack, then a tombstone will be dropped on the ground and you have to send a different army to pick it up and then carry it around to a sanctuary or your city to revive your hero. If I lose my hero fighting this blue player, then he will in fact imprison my hero, and in order to get him back, I would have to capture a city that has a prison which holds my hero. As you can see, I have captured a blue player's hero, and he cannot hire this hero back unless he actually liberates him from this prison, which is yet again an interesting concept, in my honest opinion. And also the last way for your hero to... I actually forgot what I wanted to say. But you get the idea again, which I hope is nice. Now, thing that has been taken away from heroes, individual heroes do not differ from each other in any way, shape or form. I mean, in the past they had some special abilities, in here they do not, which is a little bit sad, I can understand, and it's disappointing to some, but on the other hand, I believe that some of their skills are pretty cool. I mean, you now have also those governors in your towns. Weren't the governors in previous games? Alright, I'm not gonna talk about this because I admit it has been a long time since I played Heroes 3, so I might be mixing things up. So ignore this last sentence, I didn't say anything. Still, I do like the rework that has been made to Heroes. Now, another thing, since the heroes can carry around artifacts, right? But that's not all that they can carry. They can also carry potions and wands. Now, wands were in previous heroes, that's I know for a fact, and you could have used them to cast spells that you normally possibly wouldn't get access to. But there are also potions, which are invaluable and can rechange the outcome of the battle, giving even your weak heroes a potential to be a powerful adversary. So if I go to my city, you can see that I have an armory over here. It's a city, you know, a place where I can buy some very basic and weak artifacts that basically make my heroes a tiny little bit better, but I can also hire some, buy some potions, and they can have various effects. They are one time only, so you have to be careful about how you use them, but depending on potion, they can be really very powerful. And the most important potion that you almost always want to carry around with you is this one. It's a potion of immortality, so when you lose your hero, he is automatically revived. You do lose a 10 with this hero, but still you do not lose a hero, which is better than, you know, losing him. Unless he gets killed again after reviving, which can happen and often will. That's the word I was looking for. Alright, so those are the biggest changes that I said from the top of my head right now, but that's not all of them. Other thing that was implemented in Heroes 4 was a formation. As you can see, there are 4 different formations: a loose formation, a tight formation, and a square formation. Now, usually when I fight enemies, not always, but more often than not, I go for this square formation. It is a very interesting one because it basically makes all of your units surround a unit that you select to be in this particular area. In this case, it is my hero. So in order to get to my hero, the enemy has to kill at least one of my stacks, or, you know, attack from different various means, like from a distance or from, you know, with a spell or something. But I'll talk a little bit about that as well, because it's not as easy to attack from a distance as it used to be, I tell you. It is not. But I'm just double checking if there's anything else I need to talk about before I actually get into this fight with the blue player that I am really longing for. But I think I talked more about many of the cool features. Oh yeah, the thing that you're looking at right now that I forgot to mention, the Fog of War. Yeah, that's right, in this game there is actually something that is called a Fog of War. So if you want to have vision over important areas of the map, like for example this one-way portal from which the blue armies come, you need to have an army station nearby to actually see if the enemy is coming through or not. An incredibly cool feature that I believe adds so much depth to Heroes series, and I wish they would have implemented it again, because honestly, with your map entirely discovered at all times since after you discover a part of it, it takes away all need of having a hero that is just focused on scouting and whatnot. Those abilities that are always useless in other Heroes games, in this game are actually pretty useful. Another small change is the caravan system. In let's say for example Heroes 5, you make a caravan and then a caravan moves around in a cart, and it can be intercepted by enemy armies, and then after a while it reaches your city. It is also relatively slow. I mean, it also travels as fast as a hero with expert logistics, which isn't too slow, but still, you know what I mean. In here, however, if I am to create a caravan, I just click on the button to, you know, hire units from a certain location, and la boo. What does it mean? Whatever. And you can see that it will arrive in my city in 3 days. It's not the fastest time, but it's still relatively fast. And as you can see, or rather as you cannot see, there is nothing coming from this area from which I just hired a bunch of mummies. just because caravans are... it is impossible to intercept caravans unless you capture a city before a caravan actually reaches a set destination. Now, it is to be argued if this is actually a good idea to implement this feature or not. I honestly do not care, but I like this caravan system because it is clean, and in Heroes 5 caravans would always be stuck on each other because they would be blocking each other's way to a city, and this would be so annoying, and here isn't a problem with that, so that's something I'm very thankful for. Something else that I may have forgotten about, definitely, because there's a lot of things to this game, and I would be able, I could talk about this for days. I mean, almost literally. But at this point in time, I cannot think of anything I have forgotten, so how about I just go ahead and engage in a battle. This is a blue player, an AI player, and also I should point out that this is a campaign I'm playing, and campaign in Heroes 4 is pretty much the best campaign in any Heroes game, and everybody who played Heroes 4 campaigns admitted, even people who do not otherwise like Heroes 4, admit that the campaigns in this game are the best, and that's a fact. I mean, you cannot argue with that. They actually have really interesting, gripping, fascinating stories, and you just have to give them a try. They are amazing campaigns that they are very memorable, that's what I'm trying to say. And other thing, just before I engage in this battle, I know it's been a little bit long, but I do need to mention the music. I mean, right now you hear the lava music, so how about I load a different save file. So now you hear grass music, I believe, I'm not too sure actually. And there's a variety of music in this game, and it is always such an amazing music. The tracks in this game are amazing. Now, keep in mind, I'm only talking about the tracks in the adventure map, because I have to admit that tracks in, during the battle are pretty bad, really bad. But the tracks during the adventure screen, which you are looking at right now, are amazing. You can just sit in your chair, relax, listen to the music, and have a big smile on your face because it is really, really beautiful. And you could just listen to it over and over and over again, even when you're not playing this game, which is what I often do, I have to admit. Now then, unfortunately the battle music is way worse, and we're about to listen to it because I will finally engage. And actually I forgot to change my formation, so that's an issue that I need to resolve. I'm sorry, I know I'm loading a lot, but it's a big thing. So formation, as I said, square formation, and also before I engage in a battle, I can do other things. So I have those potions. Yeah, why not use them right now? I mean, they are potions, I drink them, it's not like the effect is going to go away instantly. So yeah, let's drink the potion of toughness, which gives my hero some extra HP. Let's drink the potion of immortality, which makes him, well, immortal for the duration of one death, which isn't really all that immortal, but it's something. And now I can engage with all those buffs on my hero, which is yet another interesting thing to, talk about. Alright, so as you can see, there is a difference. This is my square formation. My hero is very well defended. He can only be attacked from 2 places right now, and the enemy would have to have a flying unit to get over here, which he does. That's a bone dragon, a very powerful unit, I might add, and he's got 6 of them. But fortunately, as they have a larger army, blue player has been attacking me constantly in this, scenario, and he used to have more of those bone dragons. Now he's got only 6, and I believe I'm more than capable of killing them. Now, vampires are pretty much OP in this version of the game. I say this version because there is a mod that is pretty much a rebalance mod, which makes vampires actually reasonable, but right now they are OP as... they are really OP. Good job, Brain, thinking of an adequate comparison. Anyway, I'm going to wait with them because I'll be able to attack with them later. And now, I hope that I'll be able to show it to you. Right, so as you can see, when I hover over an enemy unit, there's an arrow saying I can attack it from a distance, doing half of a normal damage because the enemy is quite far away. Right, that's very nice. But, as you can see, okay, well, what's that? I cannot attack those skeletons. Do they have a buff that this allows me to attack them? Well, they do take less damage from range, but I can still attack them. I mean, I cannot. The reason being for that, they are standing behind those ghosts, so they are hiding behind them. They are not in my line of sight, and thus I cannot do anything to them, because they are not in my line of sight. I do not see them. which is yet another, again, a very cool feature that I do really like in this game. If you do not have somebody in your line of sight, you cannot do anything to him because you simply do not see him. A really cool idea, I do love it a lot. Now, also, all of those things, logs, stones, whatever, they also provide a bonus a protection bonus against your archers. I mean, I assume that those boosters do not, because as you can see, I can still attack the zombie just fine. But sometimes they do give you a protection, just like in Hero 6. So yeah, it's a very nice thing. So what I'm going to do now, my hero has a mix of nature and death magic. Death magic in this game specializes in pretty much what you expect, curses and whatnot, while nature magic is specializing in summoning units. Also, I'm a demonologist, so whatever you're supposed to call this profession, I don't really know how to pronounce it. So I have access to some unique spells, like summon imps, which normally you wouldn't have, and it's a very powerful spell, considering it's a spell that you can get easy access to. But I'm not gonna cast it right now. What I'm more interested in is a poison, because I want to get rid of the enemy hero. He's a very scary guy, and he has some very powerful skills, like for example tactics. They buff his entire army bar in a very big way. He's got advanced offense, which also buffs his army's stats. And by himself, he's a very powerful unit because of his melee, master combat and all his other stats. He just is more powerful than most tier 4 units, I would say, which is yet another cool feature of heroes. So, as I said, I'm just going to poison him. He's got magic immunity, but only partially, so I hope that I'll be able to do this. Yes, he did not resist my spell, which is very nice. And I'll defend with all my other units. I do not want to walk forward because this unit has a crazy amount of range and he can just fly up to my ranks very, very quickly and decimate them within seconds. As I said, in this game, units scale much more drastically than in Heroes 3, for example. In Heroes 3, if you attack, for example, a tier 7 unit with a tier 6 unit, you're obviously going to lose, but it's not going to be an overwhelmingly big difference. You only need a couple of tier 6 units to kill a tier 7. In here, you need a lot of tier 3 units to actually stand a chance against a tier 3. And the same goes to lower tiers as well. If you have, let's say 20 tier 1s and you fight a single tier 2, you are dead. Not necessarily depends for units, but you know what I mean. The differences are very big and I actually like it a lot. It enforces careful thinking because of the differences that you have in your army. However, vampires do not provoke any counterattacks, so how about I just engage straight away? And that's one downside of Heroes 4, I have to admit. It is using a very strange non-hexagonal, non-square movement system, so you can pretty much move to whenever you want, but also when you select a place where you want to move, then it is sometimes difficult and you may move not to the place where you want to move. For example, right now I didn't want to move away from the space, but when I move around my mouse, it doesn't tell me where my unit is going to stand, which is one issue that I have with this game, but yet another, it's a small issue and still I don't believe it outweighs all the amazingness of this game. It really does not. Alright, so what I'm going to do now, I could cast a bunch of curses on those dragons because they're scary. I could buff my vampires, which would be actually a pretty good idea because they are my most powerful unit and pretty much the only one I'm going to be using in this particular fight. But what I'm most interested in is animate dead to give myself a bone dragon. Because it's a bone dragon! Who doesn't like bone dragons? They are dragons made of bones! Anyway, as you can see, they hit for an absolute ton 3 vampires. That's a big deal. Now, ghosts are very powerful units. They're good tanks because they take a very, very small amount of damage from, conventional sources. Only magic is actually effective against them. And they can also make living creatures very, very weak by making them age. But they are not so effective in fighting at the undead. So what I'm going to do is wait a little bit. The enemy took a little bit of damage, but not as much as I would hope. And then I'm going to take the counterattack away from the bone dragons, right? Also another feature that was implemented in this game. As you can see, when I attack somebody, it's not like I gained a bonus attack. The enemy counterattacks at the exact same time, which is cool. I like this a lot. I like it more than when the enemy you attack actually has to wait before he can counterattack. It's a neat feature. I mean, there are some abilities that changes. For example, there's an ability that none of my units have, so I cannot show it to you, but there's an ability that allows you to strike before an opponent, no matter if you are the attacker or the defender. There's an ability to cancel this ability, and there's a lot of stuff that is going on. So it's a really good game in terms of strategic depth. Now, the enemy bone dragons use their counter-attack already, so I can just safely move my skeletons and annihilate those bone dragons, and also move my mummies a little bit to make sure that my hero is protected at all times. Also, I might consider using this mummy, sacrificing it to place a curse on those vampires, because mummies, they do have a curse spell whenever they attack, and it works like you might expect. It just lowers the enemy's offense. But sacrificing a mummy to weaken 5 vampires, well, why not? Maybe it will survive, though no, I don't think it would. I honestly didn't. Mummies are good, but they are not this powerful to resist an attack of 5 vampires. No way. Anyway, they did waste their counter-attack, so I can now attack with my ghosts. Or alternatively, I could keep hammering on those bone dragons, which is what I'm more interested in, I'm gonna be honest. Now, my hero, although he looks kinda deady, he's actually not dead, so those vampires can feed on my life to reinforce their vigor and heal up, but fortunately they are too dumb to do so. Which is kinda surprising, because last time I had this battle it went way worse. Then again, I did have a weaker army back then. So what I'm going to do is continuously use my vampires to weaken the bone dragons. They are almost all destroyed, which is good. The Cerberus, they are a very scary unit, because they can attack, you know, as you might expect, multiple units at once. And they also... where's my race dead? There we go. And they also provoke no counterattack, so, you know, scary stuff. Anyway, my skeletons are getting obliterated, but fortunately I can get a lot of them quickly, and I'll show to you why after this battle ends, if I remember to do so. It's a very much a possibility that I will not. Right. Ghosts, you just wait. This here is continuously poisoned, but he still is being an annoying bastard, doing a lot of damage to my units. That's a problem, especially since he's also buffing his own units, but, you know, for every problem there is a solution. So what I'm going to do now, which unit am I more afraid of, the vampires or the skeletons? Vampires provoke no counterattack and they are OP, but they also have the curse on them already. On the other hand, skeletons, there's quite a hefty amount of them. I might as well just get rid of them while I can. It should be relatively easy. I mean, look at that, 23 dead from just a single bone dragon. That's a really nice thing. Anyway, those are my skeletons, killing the rest of the enemy's skeletons. Now, did this guy waste his counterattack already? I do not remember, so I'm not gonna risk it. You just stay here, make sure that the Cerberus doesn't come any closer and attack my hero. He still can, so actually that was unnecessary what I just did, but whatever. And let's actually use my ghost to get rid of those zombies, because they are annoying bastards. Not too threatening, but I might as well. As I said, ghosts are pretty good at tanking, so I'm not too afraid of losing them, because I will simply not lose a lot of them. Now, I do want to protect my vampires, so I'm gonna stand somewhere where the enemy does not have a clear line of sight of me. Again, this game sadly makes it a little bit difficult to tell where this is, but I think I made the right decision, because there's no way the enemy can have a line of sight of me now. Except those Cerberus just did a very hefty amount of damage on me. That's still okay though. Now, I think I will continuously reanimate dead. Where are the bone dragons? Here they are. 2 bone dragons, yeah, that's a very scary force. I don't need to tell you that. You probably can realize this by yourself when I attack those Cerberus. Yeah. I'm very surprised that they didn't run away, because I do have this ability that makes the enemy flee. But apparently they did not care. Cerberus are like, yeah, whatever, we're not running away. And, oh, well, I didn't expect a counter-attack, but it doesn't matter, the enemy died anyway. So as I can see, this battle is going relatively well. I was able to catch the enemy off guard. It was very difficult because, as in any Heroes game, sadly AI is using map hacks. It always knows where you are. It always knows where you are, which in this game especially is kind of annoying because of the fog of war. But at the same time, do I care? Nah, I do not. It's still a very enjoyable experience. Interesting in its own right. It deserves a shot. That's my cell phone ringing, which I just muted. Actually, this could be important. Alright, I am back. I'm sorry about this random break that you didn't see through the power of editing, but I had a phone call. I had to go out, you know, outside for a moment. And also while waiting, I let Snail bite my finger, which was really an adorable feeling, by the way. Have you ever tried giving a snail your finger? It's a really funny sensation, you should try it. I'm not kidding, by the way, it's a really funny sensation. Anyway, let's not talk about random stuff, let's just finish off my opponents. And yeah, I cannot, unknowingly enough, make it into my opponent within a single turn. So let's just move a little bit closer to him. Even my bone dragons cannot actually make it, that's annoying. But oh well. You stay here, protect my vampires, you stay here. Enemy takes continuous damage, but it looks like I should not have poisoned him because... Did it change anything in this battle? No, it didn't. It really didn't. Can I actually use this in any way? Well, I could add insult to injury and like curse him or something. Oh yes, I know, I'm gonna cast Sorrow. Come on, guy, just wanted to kill you with style. Oh well. 2 bone dragons should be way more than enough to finish him off, even though he's a very powerful guy. He already lost a lot of HP and he goes down like his brother before him. I resurrect 2 vampires, I don't know how. Oh, probably because of the Cerebrite, they are actually not dead. So yeah, also gain the enemy artifacts, and that's a very, very nice artifact. Because I have, you know, Grandmaster Necromancy. Is it Grandmaster? Yes, it's Grandmaster. So now it's even better, so it's kinda cool. And also a ring, plus 2 luck to all friendly targets. Do I want it? Well, I do have a lot of spell points already, I might as well take it. And something else I wanted to show you before I moved on. Oh yes, no. What was it that I wanted to show you? I don't remember. I just wanted to show you how I can turn those imps. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about, a little bit about this thing that not all people liked. Yeah, so there are wait a second, how many? 6, I'm sorry, 6 factions in this game. So there is Death, which I'm playing as right now. And there is, hold on a second, I'm gonna save this save out. Because, you know, I just want a battle and whatnot, so yeah, let's save it. And let's load my different save file. So there is Death, as you have seen. There is Life. There is Nature. There is Chaos. And there is Might. And I believe we are only missing Order. So you can see all of the possible factions in this game right here, In the center there is Might, then there is Nature, Chaos, Death, Order and Life. Now they work like you might expect. The factions that are adjacent to each other kinda like each other, but the factions that are not adjacent to each other, like for example Chaos and Order, hate each other. So they have poor morale and fighting alongside, things that you can expect. And what also did I wanted to say? Well, you can also have the heroes from different factions, but that's not a new feature to this game, which is what this video is all about, let's be honest. So I believe that's more or less it. I mean, there is a lot to this game that I did not talk about, but I believe this video is already fairly long, so I might as well finish it over right here. So, it was PANCZASU the Mighty Mix Spammer. I encourage you to stay with me when I post my multiplayer gameplay of Heroes 4 at a battle against Gameslayer, which should be most enjoyable, I hope. And, you know, it is my belief that this game is actually a good game if you give it an honest try. It's true, it's not like Heroes 3, but the game doesn't have to be identical to other to be good, right? I mean, Heroes 2 has some very similar, you know, gameplay mechanics as Heroes 4 actually, which many people seem to forget about for I don't know what reason. Heroes 4 is of course the most innovative, and too many changes really angered the hardcore fans who just wanted a Heroes 3 game with better graphics. But honestly, I have to say that I do like the changes made to Heroes 4 a lot. They are innovative, they add a lot of depth to the game that it previously lacked. Its campaigns are stellar, its expansion campaigns are a little bit worse, but even then, its campaign is stellar. Music is really good, except the ones that you're listening to right now. And overall, there is little I can complain about. So, that's about it. It was PANCZASU the Mighty Mix Spammer. If you somehow managed to enjoy my cast, then please, by all means, like it. Maybe even subscribe to my channel if you wish to see more. Thank you for watching, and oh yeah, and do please leave a comment. They help me a lot and I like reading them. Thank you for watching it again, and I'll see you